go ahead and get you the link. We're on air. I guess these posters hit even further to home because we don't have you on video today, so you're missing as well, and Nib as well. He's probably permanently missing.
From what he told me in private, I guess he is.
Ugh. I'm gonna miss our little carrot top.
For sure. When his original post said something about him wanting to play other multiplayer games, so I hit him up and I was like, "Yo, what multiplayer games? I'd love to like play something with you sometime." And he was like, "Oh, I don't really have anything in mind until Diablo 3." So I guess he kind of was thinking about Diablo 3
The new season, or maybe
or
Diablo
maybe
4,
4.
or
Maybe 4. Sorry. There's something coming out this fall, so it must be Diablo 4.
maybe or that stupid Diablo Immortals game on the phone, which I'm not gonna touch because that just sounds bad.
It also very might well be the mobile one, right? Is that a remake of 3?
I think it is something stupid. I don't know. I mean, when people like knock on this game, they don't realize what some of the trash out there is, like some of the really egregious stuff that gets people. And yes,
Yeah,
Pear,
I
we just
mean,
started, or haven't started yet. We're getting set up. We need to find the stock image of Laliette since he's been kicked out of his setup for today. They're fumigating.
the three ladies wanted to watch TV, and I said, in my most polite voice that oh, I think it might interfere with the podcast. And then they said, "We're tired of you and your podcasts controlling our lives." And I said, "All right, I'll move it into the gym." And then that didn't work out because I don't have internet, because I didn't think that my computer doesn't have a wireless card. Until tomorrow, it'll have one.
Nah, it's like I'll get this situated. Oh Jesus Christ! You're gonna make somebody put that on there, aren't you, Pear? Well, I'll have to add that into the suggestions for the hybrid.
So, can you share your screen with me, or at least the screen that has the stream?
Let me see. How do I do? Oh yeah, I should be able to. Hold on.
Or I can turn on the right. No, will I be able to see the chat? Probably not. I don't know.
No, not in this setup.
All right. Well, let me just go to your stream and mute you. I'll be a little bit delayed, but at least I can see the chat. I clicked on my own. Okay.
Cool, cool. Oh, there we go. Cool.
There we go. Parafusion. That's a new name. Growing the community.
He's been
Oink.
around for a little bit. I've seen him around before. I mean, I'm trying to remember when I first started talking to him.
I've noticed an insane amount of advertisements since Sorrow hit. Not the brides, but Sorrow. Um, it's kind of wild. About 1/3 of my YouTube ads are for the game, and they're brand new ads, like nothing I've ever seen before. They show off the Green Dragon, oddly enough, and he ends up losing a fight, and then they show you how to like level him up, and then he goes back in a fight, and his team's like really weird. It's like Green Dragon, like Brown Golem, a slime, and then they go back in there and fuck shit up.
So basically, people who've never played the game before.
Yep.
Speaking of which, they're going to be able to farm Green Dragon again at some point. I mean, I don't know when we're going to get that quality of life patch. I mean, not so much him as much as King Bubble Slime is what people are waiting to really get their hands back on. I was calling it, I think it was called Recollection or something to that that nature. It'll be similar to bounties where you can go in and farm those units. So
That's awesome. And they're gonna bring in, is that King Bubble Slime as well?
yeah, King Bubble Slime, Green Dragon to start, and I'm assuming they'll alternate in the other units people miss, like Armful, Umbra, some of the other obscure units. But I mean, they covered some of them. I mean, they covered. You could technically get Wordle and Drake and some other ones, not at a better rate as before, but you could technically still get them.
And story, hard story.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think there should be an incentive for being there when it runs the first time by getting a higher drop rate. But I like the idea that other people can come in later on and still get the units, and it might just take a little bit more stam.
Right, that way they're not completely blocked out of a strategy, and at the same time, it's like, well, if you want to do this now, here you go. You figure this out. Good luck to
Right.
you.
And there's a few like units that are still killer right now. Like I still think King Bubble Slime is just the most effective way to kill EX content. I still think that Ragnar is seriously viable, especially if you're a budget player, arena unit. So they got some good free stuff.
I'm also hoping to see what is it. So I don't think you're getting your compensation. By the way, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I've had some talks. They made some valid points on that. They made some very valid points that I kind of couldn't argue. Where if they were to give us compensation every time a bunch of people cheated, it would just make people want to cheat more to give their main account compensation. I'm like, fuck. That's not a bad argument. Okay, I get that. I get that.
I
Just
don't
take
think
care of these guys quicker, please.
Right. Well, the way I would deal with that is our issue is not actually the cheaters; it's the amount of time that it took them to admit to the problem. That's what the apology would be for, in my opinion. Like the compensation is not for the cheaters because it's not their fault people are cheating, right? It's that they could have sent out a message saying that there's, you know, whatever they said in the official one. I can't remember the wording, but basically that there's cheaters and they're working on it. If they would have said that off the rip, I could have never complained about anything.
I mean, they did catch most of these motherfuckers by surprise, and oddly enough, the Bjorn rankings have opened up like a whole can of worms. Could you imagine being able to see like Zero's unit box, or seeing what he actually had under the hood? Well, I did a video on it like almost a week ago, and I just got to see like what some of those arena cheaters, because there's a few more they've popped up, what their boxes look like, and they do the whole nine. They cheat everything. They cheat Orochi, they cheat Bjorn, they cheat Arena. They don't give a fuck. And some of these guys have been around since the start, because the one guy had at least a one awakening on Green Dragon. So when that guy gets banned, that's gonna fucking hurt. That's gonna like absolutely fucking hurt.
Well, you can get Green Dragon in the story, right? Just by
Yeah, but
clearing.
he had an awaken one on him, so that tells me he was there for DQ one. Because you can't get any awakens on him. I thought you can't only get him to zero, right?
Okay, I thought you could get him to one. I didn't really know.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I thought you couldn't, but
But no, that definitely sounds like he was here since the beginning. So yeah, let's get that person banned too. You know.
and yes, this is Laliet on the phone. He's in the gym today. I was gonna put up a stock photo of him, but I can't find that one of him working out, and I don't know if that would even be appropriate for this.
Probably not. But if you want, I can turn on my camera.
Sure, I could throw you up there. We'll get you on there.
All right, let's go.
While you're doing that, I'll get this out to all the usual outlets.
I'm actually in my bedroom now because like it just wouldn't be comfortable to sit in the gym. Um, wow,
Okay.
my eye does look bad.
Wow, you look like you
Um,
lost a fight with Chase. Nobody would ever
yep,
say that.
I got a sty.
Shit. Let me get you on here.
The bummer. Does my cam stay up?
Oh, it's still up.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, sick. Yeah, bed cam. No big deal.
It's like, who's that guy? Is that somebody new in the community? No, it's just Lolliette when he's, not giving a fuck.
Oh yeah. No, see, still got the same tats and all that good stuff. All right, so let's talk more about the cheating. All right, so you got to see the entire box of the people at the top of the leaderboard,
It was
and
sad.
what is the most egregious part of the box? Like, why is it unbelievable that they could have cleared like 31 times or however many times hard Bjorn?
Well, it wasn't that got me. It was the fact that they had like a Rochi to 4 fucking stars, and meanwhile they've got like no King Bubble. They've got a Hell Gladiator that's level 30. Their fucking Stone Golem is like level 55, and I'm over here like, they have no power. They have no power to the account to be able to just raw manhandle the situation or to even do the poison cheese for the fight. So it's like, how did they get almost a near equivalent to myself? Because, I mean, I just got him the Max Awakened this week, and that's the earliest you could have gotten him Max Awakened. So it's like,
Yeah.
they're cheating everything. It's like, oh. And then you just look at everything else, and it's like, well, I mean, if they cheat this, they're cheating Arena. It's just they don't give a fuck, and I don't think they realize that that opened the door to look at their account entirely. And you could just take a look at
Mhm.
Supreme as one of them, and it's sad. It's like, wow, you don't really give a fuck about this game.
Yeah, let's talk about Supreme because Para said that he believes that he's cheating in Arena. So, what is it about Supreme's account that is?
I mean, for him, just everything in general. I mean, he's a little bit better. He's been able to hide it a little bit better in terms of like the position of gear. But then when you look closer at the skill pluses, it's still the same shit. It's like, well, how could you have? You don't have like all +10s for all this stuff. You don't have like the awakenings on these guys, and you're telling me you're able to go in there and perfect every week? The fuck?
Okay, so right, and that's where things start to get complicated too. Is you can't just ban the cheaters. You have to find a way to deal with these APKs, right?
Right, because they're just going to keep coming back.
Well, even let's go a little more egregious, right? Let's pretend that Laliette isn't a good guy, right? My box, it would be believable. Like nobody would bat an eye if I was like getting perfects or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. If I started cheating tomorrow, nobody would fucking know. Like nobody'd be like,
That's right.
yeah,
Because we have accounts that are powerful enough to do that. Because we know people who have weaker accounts who have been able to do that.
yeah. We know the limitations of the game. We know how things are going, and then it also begs the question: is well, it's like you're to a point where if you don't clear it on stream, how can I trust you? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no,
It's like,
that's
hey,
that's a real
yeah,
deal.
I hate to say it, but that's like if I don't know that you stream and don't see you physically clear stuff. I mean, it's always going to be in the back of my mind, like, is he doing something? It's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, that shit's out there. So it's like, what do they do to get these people? Because it's basically me just going out there and doing investigative work and being like, here's what I found this week. Go ban these guys. And I'm thinking to myself, can they cast a fucking net somewhere, please?
Yeah, and here's my second argument for why we deserve compensation, right? Is not even all right. So it's not because people cheated, right? Not their problem. People are going to try to cheat. It was a lack of communication that I wanted that for. But I think another thing we deserve compensation for, and not a separate compensation, but another reason for the compensation is a reward for the community for catching these motherfuckers. All right, because it was like you and Insane and Double Question Mark, right, and Ointments and all these people working together to catch these cheaters. And Nib, back when Nib was here, and everybody voicing it, starting different like things like everybody changing their name. That was Pack's idea, right? Just it takes a lot of stuff to get their attention and get it done. We did, right, and it's a big achievement. But I think that you being an investigative journalist, you know what I mean, on Dragon Quest Tact, that deserves a community-based reward, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm not gonna be like, hey, don't give me an award or give me some compensation or something. I'll take whatever. Uh, but I mean, I don't think they're gonna give a shit. I mean, maybe they'll give it as a whole for something else, and they'll be like, hey, an attaboy in the background winking a nudge, and it's like, hey, at least they fucking took care of these guys, because there's been games where you could sit for years and you could be like, well, we know they're cheating, and then 3 years later they finally ban the motherfucker, and it's like, well, I suffered for 3 years. I mean, we got off easy with only a couple weeks of their bullshit, and now we're able to even pinpoint these guys out in some other areas, and I don't know. I mean, I'd love to get something. I'd love for us to all get something for our good work, and maybe we could, poke Malcolm, and be like, hey, what could you do on the down low for us?
Right.
I fucking take it.
Those are just my arguments, for why the community deserves a reward. I am not quitting the game, right? Because they at least did two of the three things, right? So, and I said, I think exactly that. I said, two of the three things will make me happy. So they banned the motherfuckers. So that was one of them. And then they gave the communication that I felt was necessary. So, I mean, I'm happy. I'm just saying those are my arguments for why we deserve a little extra.
I'm just happy they were like, he gave me the reasoning. Like, he didn't even have to give me reasoning, like, well, what they said in the, behind the scenes. I'm like, oh, good on you, man. I mean, hey, I guess I'm at a point where people just, like, kind of trust me to where, you know what, they'll take what I say to heart. They'll really go in and they'll look at what's going on. And I'm happy for that, because that means that, I've got a really good voice here for getting things impacted in the game. And if you guys do see something else shady going on, because again, I have to admit this, I didn't even see the Bajorn thing. I didn't even realize to take a look at it. And somebody's like, you need to look at this. And like, okay, because I didn't even think of it. I thought, oh, story's done. They took these guys out. And it's like, oh, there's still some more motherfuckers left. Here we go, round two.
Yeah, and of course there is, right? Because everyone who plays the game seriously realized that there were people who were getting away with things that didn't make sense, right? Or that there's cheaters, right? You knew one or the other. Even Gilchester knew something was going on, right? And I mean, people are opportunistic. If you don't have anything, like if you're a free to play account like that guy who's been there from the beginning and has a level 30, what was it? Hell Gladiator?
Yeah, Hell Gladiator.
Yeah. So I mean, if you've been playing since the beginning, you only have a level 30 Hell Gladiator, you're probably not taking the game super serious. So what does he have to lose, Might as well grab, a four Awaken Orochi.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where I was able to even, because I've done Orochi so much, at the very least, I could say I'm an expert for that fight. The Mega Monster Battle, I'm not. I just kind of power through it and hope for the best. But, playing Orochi that many times, it's like, well, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to hit Hell Gladiator for 600-something HP. Well, this guy doesn't even have enough HP to even survive that, to do the setup. So that's one part of the equation out. And then you start looking at the tanks and what he has for healing and what he could do for offense. And you start to realize it's like, well, it's just like that video we found with all the F-rank units taking out Orochi. He's doing something to that extent because there's no logical solution with what he has to consistently clear. Now, if he only had one copy, again, these guys are not smart at all. If he had one copy, you could probably say, well, maybe he just chipped away at the lower tiers for 5 weeks or 6 weeks, and then he got one. Okay, but when I originally looked and we were taking a look at his account, he was at 3 stars. And then I was like, I took a few days to get ready to do the video, and I saw he got another star in the motherfucker. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're doing 10 Orochi 10s a week. Well played, yeah. Motherfucker. Well played.
And those are hard fights, man. Like, I've only beat Orochi 8, all right? And I get a pretty decent box. So, like, they're difficult fights. And Oink is saying that risking his account is quite dumb because he has 3 copies of Sorrow and 2 Zomas. So he obviously has spent, I would assume, some money on the game. But I don't know if I would say that it's dumb for risking, because I don't think anyone realized that the leaderboard for Bjorn was going to allow you just like the real leaderboard, right? Because those guys don't participate in the community, I'm guessing, right? So they don't know about the drama when we first found out, like, that we could look at Nib's account and stuff way back in the day, right? And Alti was like, oh, Nib's got like a 4 Awakens,
He lost his shit. He was like, wait a second, they can see what I have here. And it was like, that's a bad idea. I don't like this. Well, it's just one of those things where you would never see a cheater's account because he's probably like ranked super low. He's probably got maybe 100 to 200k account CP. He's all the way in the boonies and nobody would ever be able to see it. And then they started cheating on this stupid shit, which, again, it makes no sense to just power yourself onto that leaderboard, everybody in the top 3,000 is going to get the same reward. So it's just one of those things where, we're never going to catch the guys who are really smart about this, but we're going to catch those guys who like to just show off and go balls to the wall. And I guess, we need something to catch those other people. We really do, but that's
We
on
need
aiming. That's
to
on them.
just shut down the APKs altogether. Because I can understand how someone who doesn't participate in the community could not think that, oh, if you're on a leaderboard, you can just click on their player profile and look at all their units. You know what I mean? That's not something that is like a natural thought. I think it's something that you need to find out the hard way.
Right, because I mean, again, you just these people don't see it. They don't see any of this stuff here. And again, even I didn't even think for a minute to be like, well, Bjorn, this and that for the fight. It's like, well, they've got 31 done. They must be doing something better than me because I'm not really great at this fight. And then I go in and look at their boxes and I'm like, this is wrong. There's like stuff really off here. This is
Yep.
And as somebody who's gotten to the top and done some of the other fights and able to kind of assess things, I'm like, I could just pick this apart mathematically and there's no probable solution because again, they don't have the HP for the Hell Gladiator, or in some cases they don't have Hell Gladiator at all, and then they have to fight the normal way, which they have to go in and they have to take out Orochi, they have to take out the two serpents, the two high birds, and then the mystery dinosaur with 5k HP at the very end, which I've only got to see him once, and that was not fun. So I don't know how somebody with that type of box could overcome all of that without cheating. Just can't happen.
No, I absolutely agree. And I want to take a side tangent because for a second we were kind of talking about how you were like a detective and all this stuff, and a lot of people in the community work together, right? Somebody else brought it to your attention, and then you exposed it using your position in the community by making a video, right? So that's all really cool. But I've made statements like this before with Platt, where we believe that the content creators should get a little bit more support, right? Because like you could easily do things that don't really cost much money that would greatly reward the content creators who don't really make any money. Like the only person who's really made any money off this game is Platt, and Platt did not make him a lot of money. You know what I mean? He spent every penny that he made. You know what I mean on the game. So everyone's doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. Like Insane has done like an incredible amount of things on both sides as far as like helping other people in the community out, building their like channels, and also he has his own channel where he does a bunch of clear videos. And I don't want to pretend like everybody else isn't helpful as well, you know what I mean? But it'd just be too easy to do something for those people or have them hold special events. Maybe even give them the actual like live stats. So before a unit drops, when they make their reveal video, instead of using the Japanese wiki, they could just like Kage would just have the actual level 110 stats for Sorrow, and he could go over the unit or whatever. There's something.
That'd be interesting. That'd be really nice. I mean, because again, it's mostly been fan stuff where Insane basically helped me put together that bride video. Like he gave me the good template for like what things we're looking for, the English and everything. And again, it's like, if you guys ever want me to do a video, it's like just provide me a thumbnail and a couple PowerPoints or something, and I'll go to town. I'll do it because I'm lazy in the other ends. I'm not artistic, but I'll definitely I'll go up there and champion your points for you, and I'll put on a good show to get your point across or to help people out. But there's a lot of guys behind the scenes who've done a hell of a lot for the community, and anything would be extra or great for them. Even like little packs or stuff in game to help. Just because they're the ones who are trying to get this game out there for you. We're free marketing for you guys.
Yeah. The community has been the biggest recruiter and retention for players, right? Like, let's not pretend like Discord and Reddit, mostly Discord, the number one in player retention out of any possible like statistic, right?
Right.
Because even though we have lost some people like Nib and stuff, Nib stayed way longer than he probably should have. His life is, right? The guy still loyally goes to the gym, unlike myself. He has a wife and a child. I have multiple children. So, but he also is a traveling businessman, salesman, and on the side, he is a game creator. He works with, I think, like 3 other people, and they've already released, I think, 1 or 2 games, and they're working on their third that's supposed to launch sometime this year. He's got a ton going on, and he plays a game where he puts literally 40 to 50 hours in a week.
Maybe more. Maybe more.
And if you're trying to tell me that the reason he didn't stick around so long was not because of the community, then you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, if anybody knows Nib, the reason he stayed around is because he enjoyed the community and what he meant to the community and what his role was in the community. You know what I mean? He would have probably like pieced out like 2 months in.
Oh, easily. Yeah, and that's most people. Most people would have fizzled out at some point. I mean, the fact he even made time to do a podcast with me. Like it was like, we had to like work around his schedule, but he even made time to do that. So it's just like he got really invested into this game and really invested in people. Fuck, the community kept you from quitting the game. We kept you from going.
That's true. Like, I tried doing the same thing that Nib did, but you guys pulled me back in. Um, if you think about most of the people in the community, right? A lot of day one people have been relentless in the community, right? So like, I'm not gonna say day one, but like week 1 or week 2, I met like Insane, Nocturne, you, right? All of these people who have been like just mainstays in the discords, always welcoming new players, always giving out proper information, shutting down bullshit when people like, are either being jerks or just spreading incorrect information. Since we had to literally figure out the entire game mechanics by ourselves, another guy who did a ton of work for game mechanics is Marco, right? And Meow, back when Meow was doing stuff, very helpful. We had to learn how damage works, how defense works, how wisdom caps work, all of that stuff. Now people can walk into the game, and all of that is readily available for them through Reddit and through guides and all that stuff. So if you think all of the work that all those people have done to build this community, which is also a very positive place compared to most games, isn't worth some sort of reward, I mean, I don't even care if I get anything. I would, I would give up whatever I get just so other people, if I could pick like 20 people to get a reward, you know what I mean? I think that'd be really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't really need to reward as much as other people could use it, but I mean, hell, give it out to some other people. Give it out to the people who do like the guides, because I mean, I'm not the guide guy per se. I'll do like some generic stuff, or I'll do some stuff that I've realized that could help people out, that I've seen that I've made mistakes on, because again, I've burned through more gold in some areas than I should have. And it's like, don't do this. Like, don't like, hey, if you get a piece of S gear and they give you 100 retries on it, and you've got like 80 units to rank up, maybe only try 5 times on that piece of gear and don't do all 100, because that'll bankrupt you. That
Yeah.
one piece of gear will literally bankrupt your account.
Oh, it's crazy, and we got all these new weapons, right, for the brides, and then of course for Sorrow. And I'm not one to roll more than like the 5 times, right? But they gave us so many of those that I was like, I'll just do 10 on each, right? I swear I lost like 30k gold just rolling like those 4 new items.
Oh yeah, easily. And now it's the robe. So now I don't want to keep rolling on this robe from Bjorn, but I'm going to, because if I can get triple wisdom on it, it's a great piece of gear. But that's like 250 gold a pop, and if I have to roll this thing another 100 times, that's 25k right there. That's
Yep.
oof.
No, for real. All right, so what else is going on in the community? I don't want to talk about cheating anymore, and we got to talk about how dope everybody is. We have a new event, right? How did you do? You cleared it already?
Yeah, I cleared it second try with. I need to go back in and do the event with maybe the horse to get the 2k tokens, but I don't really need the 2k tokens for this event, because between farming all 10 units and everything, you'll be able to buy everything out. Like the best part was just the extra tickets. Like that was nice. 20 extra tickets across 4 banners was awesome.
No, for sure. And I heard Foxy